Welcome, everybody, to Hot Topic Safe Pockets. As usual, I'm your host, Heaven, and we are here today to ensure that you are on the road to success. We're going to discuss today how can you crush debt while building your wealth without changing your lifestyle. I have a very special guest here with me today. His name is Christian, and he is an expert illustrator who is going to demonstrate how this is possible. Christian, welcome.
Thank you so much, Evan. Super excited to be here. Super excited to talk about the opportunity of this cool aspect of utilizing life insurance.
Absolutely. I'm glad to have you here. I'm going to be honest with you, Christian. When you speak to someone and you tell them that there are ways in which they can pay off debts, lower some of the interest that they're paying, and accumulate wealth, that's a big concept to try to take in. It sounds a bit far fetched for most people. So today, we're actually going to show people how many people are already utilizing this process, which we call a debt action plan, in order to do just that. Okay. So I'm going to let you take control of the screens here. If there's any hiccups, we're not worried about it. And we'll get going.
Perfect. Alrighty, Heaven. So what we have here is the scenario builder for the debt action plan, right?
Yeah.
The whole point in the pitch of the debt action plan that we use here at HC Rocket is what if I could show you a strategy that could pay down all your debts, including your mortgage, in a fraction of the time without spending any additional dollar that you're already spending towards your debts,
Okay.
right? Would you be interested? Right. And of course, right. Of course, someone would be interested. They'll honestly be like, how is that possible? Like, I thought I'm doing the best I can. I talked with so and so. I saw some TikTok online, right? Something to get me ahead on my debt. What do you mean I can do it in a fraction of the time without spending any more than what I'm already spending? And that's exactly what the pitch is for the debt action plan. And I'll explain why that's the case.
Thank you very
So,
much.
yeah, so there is a lot of moving parts when it comes to utilizing this strategy. Again, we're using life insurance, right? And that's the whole um, spiel with this strategy. It's like, yes, you heard that right. We're using life insurance to eliminate your debt. Like, how is that possible, right? We're utilizing cash value life insurance, or more specifically, a whole life product in order to make this possible. You'll hear people, online saying that there's other ways to do it. You can use maybe an IUL and stuff like that. You absolutely can. Just our specific software, we use only whole life to measure the guarantees, and because we do that, we're able to see exactly how much cash value is built up at any given time during the course of the policy.
And that's important.
Super important, right?
Yeah.
So all you really have to do from an agent standpoint, all you really have to do is just enter in your client's debt. You just follow these tabs along here, right? So we already have all of the debts entered in, because I don't want to just sit here for like 20 minutes and just be crunching numbers, right? That's just boring.
Right.
Um, but we have a mortgage sitting here, right? And you can add as many mortgages as maybe your client may have. But you'll see here that they're making a $200 overpayment on their debt on this mortgage here. And so what we're going to do is our system automatically redirects that $200 up here in this redirect box here, right? So you see we already have some cash accumulated here because I've already gone through and filled this out previously. However, you have two boxes here that this would gather from. You have a monthly redirect and then a lump sum redirect. And essentially, what we're doing here is we are building out the life insurance illustration prior to submitting the application for the life insurance component,
Got it.
right? So we're entering their debts here. We'll go over to the consumer debt. So we've got some credit cards here. We've got an auto loan as well. You'll see we got the minimum payments. You enter in their principals, interest rates, right? We do some basic math here. You'll see we have about $800 of overpayments. They're working on all their debts here, right? They're trying to get out of debt. The ideal client for this strategy is someone who's in debt and trying to get out. Like, they want to, get that burden off their shoulders, right? Break those chains of being in debt, right? And
Yeah.
so with doing so, we're going to identify those overpayments. We found another $800 here, right? And there's other cool action items here, like with the mortgage. You can see a full amortization of their mortgage if they want it, right? You can do the same thing with any of their debts here. We can edit some of these. You can add an intro rate. You can add a deferment. We can automatically calculate some of their minimum payments going on here. But essentially, what you want to do. So these are just made up numbers, right? But because this is just one of our test servers. But you want to enter the exact dollar amounts that they have on their statements, on their balances, their exact minimum payments, all that jazz, right? You want to be accurate with these kind of things so we can go exactly into how it looks. So the question is, and I know probably some people viewing this might say, well, what if I have a client that's not making any overpayments on their debts, right? What if they're just barely scraping by? What if they're only making minimum payments, right? That's totally fine too. You can absolutely use this strategy with clients that are doing that as well. What
Okay.
you have to do though is you have to be a little bit creative. You have to find where those additional funds can be, right? So that's where this investment tab, as well as the income sources and the insurance policies tab, will come in to play here, right? So here I already filled out a couple of things. We've got their employer 401k. We're actually not even going to worry about that, but we're just going to put it in here just so we can see it, just to make sure that we're aware of it. We can use their savings here, so we can use maybe their $200 contributions that they're putting towards their savings. Maybe if they're comfortable, we can take out some of the account value here, and that's where this lump sum redirect would be calculated, right? If we were to take out some of this, as you can see, you can fully edit it down here. So if I were to put, let's say instead of $200, let's say we only want to take $100 out of here, the system will automatically redirect this money, look, and it changed it up here. So as you enter in the debt, our system does all of the math and all the heavy lifting for you, right? We have other educational components. We're probably not have time to go into that today. There are so many moving parts of this strategy and of our software here that really just makes it robust.
Okay.
Super powerful stuff. So we have the investments tab. Like how I said earlier, you got to go find some additional funds if they are not making any overpayments.
Okay.
So you go through their investments, you go through their income. Maybe you see what their monthly income is at. Here we just have just one with Target, looks like. But you can have multiple sources, right? We know that. So you go through there, you go through maybe a little bit of a budgeting with them and see where they have any additional dollars. Like, do you have any additional dollars after your monthly expenses that you're comfortable with contributing towards eliminating your debt? What dollar amount is that? Yada yada yada, right? And then you really start building out what that would look like. Same thing with the insurance policies. If you got a term or something more permanent, you can utilize the cash value or the monthly premium going into that. We're just not going to mess with that here. We already have a good amount that we're redirecting. Finally, you get into the report tab here. Okay, this is when you go and you build out your illustration, right? So this is par whole life that we're using, right? Participating whole life. And what we're going to do here is we're going to take this dollar amount, and this is going to be the monthly premium that you're going to illustrate on your whole life illustration. With HC Rocket, you can use any whole life carrier of choice, right? Today, I have a Foresters illustration that I'm going to use. But like I said, you can use any whole life carrier, anyone that you prefer. So that's, Lafayette, Penn Mutual, Ameritage, really anyone that you prefer. We've got it on the system, no problem, right? So you just click this tab here. You click Add Illustrations. I'm going to click that, right? I already have one loaded up in here, right? This Foresters Financial one. Typically, what you'll see is these will be blank, and you'll have to upload your illustration. It's a very easy process. You click this. You make sure your illustration is saved as a PDF. Make sure it's valid, right? It gives you some instructions. Then you click Select Illustration. It opens up a file to your computer, and you just upload your illustration, right? So the process is you see the dollar amount here. You go to your carrier of choice, you wrap the illustration, you download it as a PDF, right? You move it over here to HC Rocket, you upload it, and that's it. That's our analyzer tool. And all we simply do is our system reads your illustration and spits out a report. It knows the exact pages and the exact lines on your illustration on where to read it so you can present it to your client, right? The goal of HC Rocket is you no longer have to present with a illustration anymore. You're certainly using it, and as you can see, it's connected to this presentation. But you no longer have to read from it. You have to go, okay, so if you go to page 25, line 7, column 4, that's the amount of income you're going to have when you hit retirement. Like, you don't have to do that anymore.
And that's really good. So insurance agents, financial advisors, you guys listen up. I mean, this is really empowering you, but ultimately it's going to be extremely beneficial for your client because it's going to be easy for them to understand, follow, and see their projections. So definitely check out Agency Rocket and what it can and some of the programs that they have. I appreciate that, Christian, for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for that, Heaven. So yeah, like I said, we do all the heavy lifting for you. We make this whole process just streamlined for your sales, right? For your business and your production. But let's cut back to it. So back to the report. Okay, we're going to look at this column here. So this is their current plan. This is their old plan. This is including the overpayments on their debt, right? They're going to pay a total amount of interest of $422,000, right? Total payment of $957,000 and some change. An effective interest rate of all their debts put together of 44.12%. They're going to be debt free in 23 years. All right. Now,
Wow.
by simply redirecting this $1,200, these overpayments, and putting it into a whole life insurance product and then utilizing the cash value that grows inside that, we're going to save this client $149,000 in interest and have them debt free in 9 years. That's
Wow.
including their mortgage.
Wow. 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 We have to pause there. We have to just pause on that for just a second. Christian, you can't say that as if it's just like, oh yeah, we're just you know, gonna save you almost a couple of hundred grand and you'll be free, in just a few years versus the next 25 years. I mean, seriously, you guys, listen to what he's saying. And for those of you who feel as if like you mentioned, I don't have any overages. Work with a specialist. Be willing to be honest so that you can take that very first step to the road to success. Because someone else may be able to see where you're misappropriating funds. Not to say that you may be doing wonderful, but you may actually have money somewhere that will assist with this process unbeknownst to you. So don't count yourself out. Always, be willing to have a consultation. The consultations are free at hbfsadvisors.com. And again, the link is going to be in the description there. But you guys, check on your opportunities. Make sure that there's not something that you're missing. A lot of times there's just a way better path, and you wonder how successful people, some people call them elite, whatever you want to call them, are able to buy their homes in short amount of times or pay off their debts and things of this nature. There's other financial vehicles out there, and I've been in the finance realm for 20 plus years. I've been working with every product that there is. Insurance is a premier financial vehicle. This is a prime example why. All right, Christian, go right ahead.
Perfect. Yeah. So, like I said, we're going to be debt free in 9 years. Holy smokes. Like, that's too good to be true. Christian, how on earth are we doing that? Like, you're telling me life insurance will cut my debt life to 9 years and save me $100,000 plus in interest? How? So the next tab is the comparison tab, right? We'll go over these settings in a minute. Like, this is nothing really too much to worry about. But next, this is what you'd present to your client and show them how this system works, right? So again, we're taking them from debt to wealth, right? We're going to utilize this life insurance product. We're going to take them from being in debt and show them the possibilities of how they can grow their wealth afterwards, right? We're doing that all in this presentation tool right here. So it's called a comparison tool. You have these sliders, you have your bank, right? You have your cash value, right? It's a little less than what the $1,200 is, right? Again, because this is life insurance. Some of these monthly premiums will go into paying for the life insurance component of it, right? And the rest of it will go into the cash value bank, is what we're seeing here. Because it's a whole life product, we're able to calculate the exact amount of what that's going to be year over year over year over year, thanks to the guarantees and to the non-direct loan recognition that it holds, right? Those are pretty powerful tools in a whole life product. Now, all you have to do, so you have your two comparisons, is their current plan and their new debt action plan. Remember, the current plan is including those overpayments, right? So this will outperform the debt action plan, at least at first for a little bit. So you move the slider, you watch how your bank grows, you watch how the numbers move and the graphs change, right? I can show it some other graphs here. We got some interest and the payment comparison going on, right? We're going to move this along here. Whoop, moving a little fast. Now we're going to go to about here, month 4, right? So you'll see in our bank, we have $17,000 that we've built up in our cash value in our life insurance product, right? Now you'll see our first payment is a MasterCard, our first debt. The balance of that MasterCard is $15,000. You'll see currently on their current plan, they're outperforming the debt action plan, right? They're 40% down with the MasterCard, 32% compared to 21 and 19, right? So it looks like they're actually on a pretty good plan. They got the right thing going on here. However, watch the following month, we're going to take out a policy loan, 15 grand and some change, the exact amount. And we're going to take that money, we're going to pay off the MasterCard. Okay. Now, how this strategy works is that we're going to take the minimum payment that they were paying of that old MasterCard and put that towards the policy loan, right? We can discuss, policy loans and cash flow, yada, yada, probably another day, but we're just going to show how you can utilize this, right? So we're going to take the minimum payment, put it towards the policy loan. Why? Because we want to pay this down because eventually we're going to use this to pay off the mortgage. Now we're already saving them on interest here, right? We're going from 25% on this credit card to about 5% on the whole life product, right? Now that varies depending on carriers and yada yada yada, right? So that's up to you guys, the agents, to determine what is your go-to product, and that's totally fine. Now we keep moving forward, and I want to iterate this. Like, this shouldn't ruffle any feathers with your client. Why? Because this $1,200 they were already paying towards their debts.
Exactly.
Now we're just putting it to a whole life product. Also, these minimum payments that they're now paying on this new policy loan, they were already paying the minimum payment on their credit card anyways. And at this point, 1 year in, they would still be paying this minimum payment. So just having them redirect that fund into a policy loan, trying to ruffle any feathers, again, not changing their lifestyle, right? That's the big sell here, right? We have gurus online that are debt gurus that always say, cut down your lifestyle, right? Eat rice and beans only, sell your car, cut down your lifestyle to get out of debt. And that's the only way to do it. We're here to totally flip the script on that, right? You don't have to cut down your lifestyle. What if we cut down your taxes and your interest, right? And doing this strategy, that's exactly how we're going to do this. Now, moving forward, we're going to do it. We're going to take out another policy loan soon, right? We got 18 grand here is coming up, 20 grand here, the Amex, right? We're looking at balances here. We got 18 here. So next, boop, take out another policy loan, right? The beauty of this is that this cash value grows to the full amount of the cash value that's in it, regardless of what's borrowed against it, right? So that's thanks to that non-direct loan recognition. This is gonna keep growing over time. Again, we're borrowing against this, right? Maybe the clients might not fully understand this. We're not withdrawing the cash value. We're borrowing against it, taking a loan out against it. That's why it's called a policy loan. So that's why this still continues to grow, even though we're borrowing against it. So you get the idea. Eventually, year over year, there will come to a point where we have to stop contributing this freed up debt that we're using, right? We want to redistribute this because we don't want the policy to mech out, right?
Yeah.
It just,
and they don't know what that is,
convoluted.
but we can go on through the payoff.
Yeah. It's a modified endowment contract. It's just
Yeah.
a fancy way of saying you're overfunding a policy, and you'll have to add more insurance to that, more costs associated with that. We don't want to do that, right? It just messes up this specific strategy. If there's another strategy that you can utilize that, by all means, go for it. But for this specific one, we want to avoid that. And so by doing so, we know the exact date on when to stop the additional funding into the policy and redirect it into another savings vehicle. Our system defaults to a 2% yielding savings, just typical bank account, right? 2% is actually pretty high for a savings account, but you get the idea. We're trying to show them you need to redistribute these contributions into something else. Now, that additional savings vehicle can be anything, right? So you life insurance agents listening to this, I know that your head's spinning, you got some alarms going off. And wait. So this can be anything? Yeah, that could be anything. It could be another life insurance product, right? That's a total topic for another day. But you can get really creative, really advanced with this, right? But anyways, we're just going to have this be just a typical savings account, right? Just to keep it simple. You're going to move it along, right? We're going to start contributing that freed up money in that bank account, right? So you get the idea. We're going to move the slider to this green box, year 9, right? So we'll go actually to year 8, month 12. Whoops. You'll see here that we have $349,000 saved up here. That's the cash value and the savings account, right? We have $337,000 left on your mortgage. So when we go to year 9, we're going to empty out that savings account, most of it at least, take out the policy loan for the remaining balance, and pay off your mortgage, right? At this point, your client is debt free, right?
Yep.
Now, your clients are smart though. They're gonna sit here and be like, wait a minute, I'm not entirely debt free. I just redistributed my debt in the form of a policy loan that I now owe to my life insurance carrier, right? True, but also here's the beauty of utilizing this strategy, right? Let's say you wanted to close out your policy 9 years down the road, right? Served its purpose, has got you out of debt. I'm done, right? I'm good to go. You can call up your life insurance carrier and close out your policy and say, hey, I want to close it out. They'll look at your account and they'll say, okay, we have $144,000 of cash value you've accumulated into this policy over the past 9 years, thanks to your monthly premium contributions. You have a policy loan balance of $121,000. We're going to collateralize that because this is a loan. You owe this back to us, and your cash value is what's collateralized. We're going to close that out. We're going to mail you a check of 26 grand in the mail because that's what it's
Nice.
over. And
Payday.
by the way, yes, you are absolutely debt free, right?
Wow.
That's the beauty of using life insurance to eliminate your debt, right? Now, for the agents listening, like, why the heck would I want them to close their policy, right? There's so many other benefits to having life insurance, right? And you've probably structured it in that way to have it to benefit the client. So, of course, we don't want them to close out their policy. We want them to keep this, right? This is, of course, a whole life insurance product. So you want them to have it for their whole life, right?
Right.
So we're going to not close out the policy. I just wanted to show that just for an example that, hey, you are actually out of debt. Don't worry.
I'm out of debt in 9 years, half the
Right.
time, more than that. And I've gotten a check for $26,317.
I know. Hey, that's not a bad gig. That's not a
Okay.
bad deal, right?
It can't get better. It just can't get better.
It can absolutely get better, Evan, and I'm going to show you why.
Okay.
So we're going to keep this policy, right? So you see this blue box right here. So this is your original payoff date, 23 years, right? This was your old plan,
Okay.
right? This included the overpayments. What if we use the same strategy for 23 years instead of 9? We didn't close out that policy. So we had the premium, we had this freed up money. We're going to put that back to that savings account, right? We're going to get these policy loans paid down. What would that look like in 23 years? Let's find out.
Wait a
Look
minute.
at that.
Wait a minute. Does that say $1.57 million?
You're absolutely right, Evan. That is
All right.
$1.57 million. $1 million.
Oh man. Okay. We're gonna stop right here. We're gonna stop right here because I feel as if we're doing one or two things are gonna happen. Somebody's either really, really, really listening or not paying attention at all. All right.
Mhm.
If they didn't catch something that got their attention, we're just gonna pause and wait for the people who their antennas went up with this. Okay. When the lights came on, we'll wait to hear back from them. Christian, amazing. Okay. That information is amazing. Agents, if you're watching, get in contact with Christian. Okay. This is something that your clients need. This is something that's going to ease your pain as well. And before I go, Christian, and to any of the viewers that are out there, I want you guys to know that Heritage Bridge Financial Solutions, we're not here to sit you down and fix your life in a matter of 30 minutes. Okay. I have been in the industry for a very long time, and I understand that most people, lifestyles, whatever's going on with your debts and things, it changes. There's no two people alike. There's no two scenarios that are alike. And we take that seriously. We're partnered with a brokerage. And so we work with all products, insurance products primarily, but if you're interested in other products such as 401ks, 403bs, IRAs, we handle it all. And we work as a group with our clients. So we sit back and we discuss our clients' goals, all right? And we all put in order to determine what is absolutely the best strategy for you. So you can expect that you'll meet with us more than once before we sit down and go over plans with you in about 80% of the cases, okay? And to that point, one of the things that we also do to go in conjunction with the debt action plan that Christian just went over is what we like to call the debt validation program. And so, what that is where we actually will either on your behalf, or if you want to do it yourself, we will assist you. Before we get to chucking out thousands of dollars to anyone that's showing up and claiming that they are a creditor, we take time to evaluate the legitimacy of that debt. Okay, and we'll be more and more videos and more information on our website about that. But just to give you a quick glimpse at some of the recent results. Okay, so this is two creditors that we recently worked on for a client. We sent out dispute letters to Grant Mercantile and to Jefferson Capital on the 3rd of October. The results came back on the 8th, and what was it on the 10th. So in less than 2 weeks, a week, we were able to actually get these removed. Okay, so we wouldn't have to include those in a debt action plan, but we will work with the more larger ongoing debts for certain. And with that, just want to tell everybody thank you. I want to tell you thank you again, Christian, for coming on. You
Of
guys,
course, Evan. Thank you.
and we'll bring you back. If you guys want to be anonymous and you want to email us, here's our email. We are happy to kind of do an illustration based around your scenario, just give an idea of where you'll be at. Okay, and it can be completely anonymous, or you can actually call us 813-640-2515. You can email us at info@hbfsadvisors. Visit the website in order to book your free consultation. But whatever you do, don't wait, okay? Try to understand the times in which we're in. Nothing is set in stone. It's very turbulent. You want to take action to try to get on track. So, with that being said, thank you for tuning in to Hot Topics Safe Pockets. I'm your host, Heaven, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks, Christian.
Thanks, Evan.
Bye.